If adventure, wild beauty, and once-in-a-lifetime views call your name, it's time to book that cruise for Alaska. Glaciers, whales, epic hikes, and views straight out of a postcard. This cruise was next level. Stick around until the end. I'll show you why an Alaska cruise is the trip you didn't know you needed, plus all the insider tips to make it unforgettable. Let's get right into it. We flew into Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, or SeaTac, which is about a 25 to 30-minute drive from the cruise terminal, though that can stretch a bit with traffic. Most Alaska cruises depart from Seattle. We debated taking a shuttle or one of those shared buses, but honestly, the Uber fare was almost the same, and after a long flight, convenience won out. We just wanted to get there, drop our bags, and start vacation mode. The cruise terminal itself was bustling but surprisingly efficient. The line looked intimidating at first, the kind that makes your heart sink a little, but it actually moved fairly quickly. Security and check-in were smooth, and before we knew it, we were stepping aboard what would be our floating home for the next week. First things first, the muster drill. It's basically a mandatory safety briefing that every cruise passenger has to attend. They show you where your lifeboat station is, what to do in an emergency, and then boom, you're officially free to explore. And explore we did. We grabbed a drink, headed straight to the upper deck, and watched as Seattle slowly faded into the distance. The sail-away party was in full swing. By the time we finished wandering around, our stateroom was ready and our luggage had arrived. We booked a stateroom with a balcony, and trust me, that's one of my top tips. We unpacked, freshened up, and headed to the main dining room for our first dinner. One of the best parts about cruising is that the main dining is included, and you can literally order as much as you want. Appetizers, mains, dessert, no guilt, no extra charge. As vegetarians, we were especially impressed by how accommodating the staff was. They even customized Indian dishes for us. That level of service honestly made us feel so cared for, and it's one of the reasons we cruise again and again. After dinner, we strolled the deck and were rewarded with one of those moments that feels almost cinematic, a sunset melting into a rainbow over the ocean. Later, we caught a comedy show and some live music at one of the bars, the perfect end to our first night at sea. Our first stop was Juneau, Alaska's capital city. It's remote, rugged, and reachable only by sea or air. No roads connected to the rest of the state, which already makes it feel special. We had our hearts set on dog sledding, but those tours book up super fast, so we decided to explore on our own. You can book tours when you get off of the ship, but that's not always a guarantee, and like I said, they book up super fast. So my second tip is, if you have your heart set on a tour, definitely book that. It doesn't have to be with the cruise ship that you're sailing with. There are tons of other great tour companies and excursions. I will list them in the description box, so definitely check it out. Just make sure when you're booking tours that are not part of the cruise ship, you pay attention to pick up locations and pick up timing. You definitely don't want to miss your cruise on the way back. We hopped on a local trolley that looped around town. It was super easy and super scenic. The highlight of the day was definitely visiting Mendenhall Glacier and Nugget Falls. The glacier itself is about 13 miles long and part of the massive Juneau ice field. It's this shimmering blue wall of ice that looks almost unreal. The short hike to Nugget Falls brings you right to the base of a roaring waterfall that cascades down besides the glacier. It's powerful, humbling, and absolutely worth the trip. Fun fact, Mendenhall Glacier has been receding over the past century, retreating more than a mile since the early 1900s. Seeing it up close makes you realize just how fragile and magnificent nature really is. After our visit, we hopped back on the trolley, or so we thought. We actually asked to be dropped off about halfway back, and this wasn't a special request. The trolley driver himself asked if anyone wanted to be dropped off at certain points, and there were other people that got off as well. We eventually made it back to the ship, and that was just day one of our Alaskan adventure. When we got back to the ship, the atmosphere was pure magic. We found a man playing the piano, filling the space with soft music. As the ship began to sail again, the promenade deck came alive. That evening, we had dinner once again in the main dining room, and the food and service were just as amazing as the first night. Since we're on the topic of food, let's talk about where to eat on Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas. There's no shortage of options, and honestly, food might be one of the highlights of the entire cruise. We have Izumi, which is an extra charge specialty restaurant. It's a must for sushi lovers. They serve fresh sashimi, creative rolls, and even hot Japanese entrees like ramen and teriyaki, and they even have hibachi. Spots fill up quickly, so definitely reserve this beforehand. The atmosphere is cozy, upscale, and perfect for lunch or dinner. We have Doghouse, which is located on the boardwalk style deck and completely free. Eat all the hot dogs your heart desires. This spot serves up gourmet hot dogs with a twist, then top them with your favorite fixings. Quick, casual, and perfect for a snack between activities. We have fish and chips, also complimentary. This is your go-to for that classic British comfort food. Crispy fried fish, golden fries, even some seafood bites. Perfect when you're craving something hearty after an excursion. We have the cafe at $2.70. Mostly included, though a few premium items cost extra. It's a bright modern cafe tucked inside the ship's stunning $2.70 venue, offering sandwiches, salads, soups, and pastries. A great spot for a lighter bite or coffee with a view. We have everyone's favorite Sorrento's, the ship's famous free pizza place. It's open super late and always buzzing. We have Amber and Oak Pub. This one charges extra, but it's a proper British style pub. We have a pastry shop, which is another extra charge option, perfect for anyone with a sweet tooth. Our next stop, or our next port on this cruise, was Skagway, a charming little town that feels frozen in time. This is where we did the famous White Pass and Yukon Route Railway, and oh my goodness, I absolutely loved this experience. This narrow railroad was built during the gold rush of 1898, and it climbs nearly 3,000 feet in just 20 miles. You pass through tunnels, over bridges, and along cliffs with jaw-dropping views of waterfalls, mountains, and snow-tipped peaks. As we climbed higher, we started to see patches of snow, and at one point we actually crossed into Canada's Yukon territory. No passport stamping, just pure adventure, and you are not allowed to get off the train. When the train brought us back into town, we strolled through historic Skagway with its colorful wooden storefronts and preserved Gold Rush charm. We even stumbled upon a popcorn shop that was super busy, and after tasting it, we understood why. Sweet, crunchy, and the perfect little snack for the walk back to the ship. Back on board, we grabbed lunch at Windjammer, the buffet that never disappoints. From fresh salads to pasta and endless desserts, there's always something for everyone. We spent the afternoon watching helicopters take off and land nearby, which was surprisingly mesmerizing. Then we took a leisurely walk on the deck, just soaking in the scenery. These views were beyond breathtaking. I cannot get enough of them. Towering mountains, still waters, and that cool, clean Alaskan air. Later, we stopped by the Bionic Bar where robots mix your drinks. Yes, actual robotic arms shaking and stirring cocktails right in front of you. It's a fun little show on its own. We wandered a bit more and then wrapped up the evening by catching one of the ship's live shows. Top tier entertainment that feels like something straight out of Vegas. Definitely do not miss these shows. The next day was a sea day, which meant time to really enjoy the ship. We started with the North Star, that glass observation capsule that lifts you more than 300 feet above sea level for a full panoramic view. Before going up, the crew gave a quick briefing about safety and how the North Star was designed, and once we were in the air, the views were absolutely unreal. You could see the vast ocean and snow-capped mountains in every direction. Note this is an extra charge and it does fill up super fast, so make your reservation as soon as you can final your plans. After that, we went full kid mode and hit the bumper cars in the Seaplex. I was a little skeptical on doing this, but after the first round, I was the one who suggested we go for a second. Laughter, a few gentle crashes, and so much fun. That evening, we decided to try something completely different. Wonderland, one of the ship's specialty restaurants. It's an extra charge experience, but honestly, it's so unique that it's worth going at least once. The theme is all about imagination and illusion. Think Alice in Wonderland meets fine dining. The menu is divided into elements like earth, sea, fire, ice, and sun, and each dish is designed to surprise you, both in presentation and flavor. For the record, they accommodate vegetarians very nicely. They customized a full menu, and it did not feel like you missed out on the experience. Later that night, we went to see Spectra's Cabaret, and wow, we absolutely loved it. It's one of Ovation of the Sea's most talked about shows, performed in the incredible 270 venue where high-tech screens and live performers blend together in this mesmerizing, futuristic experience. The show combines music, dance, and digital effects in a way that's almost hypnotic. Massive moving LED panels surround the stage, creating immersive visuals that shift with the rhythm. One moment you're underwater, the next you're in outer space. The singers were phenomenal and the whole production felt fresh, vibrant, and full of energy. Seriously, hats off to the performers on a moving ship. That definitely cannot be easy. It's hard to even describe. It's part concert, part light show, part dream sequence, but somehow it all works perfectly. Definitely one of our favorite shows of the entire cruise. After Spectra's Cabaret, we were completely memorized and exhausted in the best way. The music, the visuals, the energy, it was such a sensory overload that by the time we got to our stateroom, we just crashed. The next morning, we arrived at our final stop, which was Victoria, Canada, the capital of British Columbia and one of the most picturesque cities you can visit by cruise. Most Alaska cruises actually include a Canadian port stop because of maritime law, specifically something called the Passenger Vessel Services Act. In short, this requires ships sailing from the US to stop at a foreign port before returning home. For many cruises out of Seattle, Victoria is usually that stop, although it can vary. Honestly, it was a beautiful way to end the journey, and I really fell in love with this stop. We took a ferry into town, which was a fun little ride in itself, and then from there, everything felt so charming, colorful, historic, and walkable. Just across from where we docked is Chinatown, one of the oldest in North America, with its narrow alleyways, bright red gates, and that mix of culture and energy that makes it so alive. We walked through Bastion Square, an area filled with historic architecture, local shops, and street performers. This used to be the site of Fort Victoria back in the 1800s, so it's full of history and atmosphere. I did want to point out this painting. Yes, this is a painting. It was so cool. I had to take a photo and a video. It's definitely mind-boggling from afar because you think someone's falling out the window or reaching out, but it's a painting. Then we made our way to the Hands of Time, a series of beautiful bronze sculptures scattered around the city, each one telling a little story about Victoria's past, from early explorers to local traditions. Of course, we couldn't miss the Fairmont Empress Hotel, the city's iconic landmark overlooking the harbor. With its ivy-covered walls and grand architecture, it feels like stepping back in time. Whether you go inside for tea or just admire it from the gardens, it's absolutely stunning. Victoria has this quiet elegance, a mix of English charm, coastal beauty, and relaxed island peace. It was honestly the perfect final note to an incredible cruise. We got back to the cruise and went to the Windjammer for some snacks. Little did we know that they had an entire fondue station set up, as well as fresh popped popcorn and a variety of other snacks. This just goes to show you how much thought and care goes into not only planning the menus every day, but as well as the activities around the ship. As the ship made its way back towards Seattle, we couldn't help but reflect on the journey, the places we'd seen, the people we'd met, and all those unforgettable moments in between. The Ovation of the Seas truly impressed us, from the food and entertainment to the crew and the ship's design. Everything felt thoughtful, comfortable, and full of little touches that made the experience special. There's always something to do, whether it's catching a show, relaxing with a drink, or just staring out at the endless ocean. It's one of those ships that feels alive, yet still gives you space to unwind. I always recommend and encourage cruises. There's something for everyone to do. It's perfect for all ages. There's never time to get bored, and best of all, no fighting over what to eat. As for Alaska, it's everything people say it is and more. The landscapes are raw and powerful, the air feels clean, and the pace is slower. Every view feels like a postcard that came to life. It's the kind of trip that stays with you, the kind that makes you fall in love with travel all over again. I definitely am already planning our next Alaska cruise. There is just so much to see. We even thought about flying into Alaska and doing a road trip. We loved it that much. If Alaska isn't on your bucket list yet, it should be, because some places you simply have to see to believe it, and this is one of them. I hope you enjoyed this travel vlog. Make sure to like this video, share it with your travel buddy, and subscribe to my channel for more travel content just like this. I'll see you soon in a new video.